The Galactic Council chamber had been carved from the heart of a dead star. That fact alone was meant to intimidate visitors, an unsubtle reminder that the powers seated there had mastered extinction long before most species learned agriculture. The walls glowed faintly with captured stellar radiation, and the air vibrated with translation fields humming over dozens of alien languages. When the human representative arrived, the council almost didn't notice. He was alone. No honor guard. No war banners. No biologically engineered intimidation pheromones. Just a man in a plain dark suit, hair already graying at the temples, posture rigid in a way that suggested discipline rather than pride. He stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by beings who measured their conquests in constellations. The chair entity of the council, an immense, segmented intelligence whose species had extinguished 3 civilizations before humans had discovered gunpowder, spoke first. "You may deliver Earth's petition," it said, voice echoing like grinding consonants. The human cleared his throat. "We are requesting protected status under council law," he said evenly. "Non-interference. No forced integration. No tribute obligations. Recognition of soul as a sovereign system." A ripple of amusement spread through the chamber. Several counselors exchanged chemical signals equivalent to laughter. One actually made a sound, sharp, clicking, dismissive. The chair entity tilted slightly. "You are newly spacefaring." "We are," the human agreed. "You are politically divided." "Yes." "Militarily inefficient." The human paused. "Debatable." That earned a louder reaction. A predator species from the outer rim hissed in amusement. The chair entity continued. "You offer nothing of value. No rare elements. No unique technology. No strategic location. Why should the council grant this request?" The human met its gaze without flinching. "Because if you don't," he said, "you'll regret it." Silence fell, not because the statement was threatening, but because it was so profoundly out of place. Species that threatened the council did so with fleets, not sentences. The chair entity studied him. "Is that a declaration of hostility?" "No," the human replied. "It's a warning." Another pause. "Explain." The human inhaled slowly, as if choosing his words with care. "Humans are not the strongest species. We're not the smartest. We don't live the longest. What we are is persistent. We adapt under pressure. We escalate when cornered. And we remember." Several counselors shifted uncomfortably. The human finished quietly. "If you come in peace, we will trade. If you come in war, we will adapt." The chair entity processed this for several seconds. Then it spoke the words that would echo across history. "Request denied." The chamber erupted in laughter. The human did not laugh. He nodded once, as if confirming a calculation, and turned to leave. No one stopped him. No one bothered to watch him go. 37 years later, the laughter was gone. The Galactic Council reconvened under emergency protocol for the first time in 8 centuries. Holographic projections flickered erratically as data poured in faster than most species could process. Admiral Veilthrex of the Korath Imperium stood at attention, mandibles rigid, armored crest scarred from 100 victorious campaigns. "The Sol system has been neutralized," he reported. "Primary defenses destroyed. Orbital infrastructure eliminated. Planetary resistance ongoing but strategically irrelevant." A counselor asked. "Human casualties?" Veilthrex didn't hesitate. "Acceptable." Earth burned in silence. Orbital bombardment was clean and methodical. No star-cracking theatrics. No unnecessary cruelty. Just precision strikes on population centers, industrial hubs, and military installations. Human ships fought back, but poorly, by Council standards. Their formations were messy. Their tactics inconsistent. Their losses catastrophic. Yet something bothered Veilthrex. "They don't retreat," he said. "Even when defeat is mathematically certain." Another counselor waved a tentacle dismissively. "Predators fight until death when cornered. This is not unusual." "No," Veilthrex replied. This is different. They aren't trying to win. They're trying to hurt us. A feed flickered to life mid-session. A human cruiser, its hull ruptured, atmosphere venting violently into space. Flames licked along exposed internal decks. A battered human captain appeared on screen, blood floating from a head wound. Hey, the man said casually, as alarms screamed behind him. You recording this? Veilthrex stared. The captain grinned. Good. I want you to remember. The feed cut out as the cruiser accelerated, directly into a Korath carrier. The explosion obliterated both vessels. Silence gripped the council chamber. Desperation, someone muttered. Yes, Veilthrex agreed slowly. But directed desperation. Within weeks, Earth was declared pacified. Human transmission ceased. No more resistance. No surrender. Just silence. The council congratulated itself. Then the supply convoys started disappearing. Entire fleets vanished between jump points. No distress signals. No debris fields. Just empty space where logistics chains had been. A border outpost went dark. Then another. Then 5 more. Council analysts blamed pirates. Mechanical failures. Statistical anomalies. Until a data relay station exploded from the inside. Its last recorded transmission was a single human phrase, translated imperfectly across dozens of languages. Dead man switch. The council demanded answers. Veilthrex demanded time. He did not get it. On the far edge of the Sol system, beyond the orbit of Pluto, something activated. Human-made. Ancient by their standards. Forgotten by everyone else. A construct buried in dark matter scaffolding powered up for the first time in 30 years. Its designation was simple. Last Message Protocol, active. Across the galaxy, human probes, dismissed as relics, museum pieces, trade junk, woke up. And Earth, long silent, finally spoke again. Not with a plea. Not with a threat. But with a promise. The first Korath world died without a battle. No warning sirens. No orbital fire. No heroic last stand broadcast to impress future historians. One moment, the system's primary star burned within acceptable parameters. The next, it misbehaved. Human science had never been elegant. It was loud, ugly, and powered by a philosophy that boiled down to, if the universe has rules, let's see how hard we can bend them before they break. Decades earlier, human, commercial probes had been welcomed into Korath's space as curiosities, slow, inefficient things full of outdated components and soft metals. They were logged, scanned, ignored. Those probes were not explorers. They were instructions. When the last message protocol went fully active, every human artifact beyond Sol received the same update. If Earth is gone, make the war unprofitable. The Korath star began emitting radiation in tightly modulated frequencies, harmless to most life, catastrophic to Korath biology. Their nervous systems overloaded. Their cellular regeneration reversed. Within hours, hospitals became morgues. Within 6 hours, the capital world was dead. The Korath Imperium did not announce the loss. They couldn't. Because before the Council could even convene, 3 more Korath systems went silent. Admiral Veilthrex watched the casualty projections update in real time. Entire bloodlines erased. Industrial capacity annihilated without a single human ship in sight. This violates every interstellar war convention, a counselor screamed during the emergency session. Planetary sterilization without declaration is forbidden. A human signal cut into the chamber, overriding Council's security with contemptuous ease. The feed stabilized on an old man seated in a dim room. His face was weathered, one eye replaced by a crude mechanical implant that whirred softly as it adjusted focus. He wore no insignia, just a battered jacket with a stitched patch that read, "Don't tread on Sol." He leaned toward the camera, holding a cigarette between scarred fingers. "Yeah," he said. "We read the rulebook too." The chair entity demanded, "Identify yourself." The old man smiled faintly. You don't get names anymore. Security tried to terminate the transmission. They failed. You glassed our planet, the man continued calmly. Didn't even bother to demand surrender. You killed kids who didn't know what a council was. Lovers who thought the stars were romantic. Soldiers who died screaming because they believed, stupidly, that maybe you'd show mercy. He took a drag, exhaled slowly. So we did what humans do when the math says we lose. The radiation levels in another Korath system spiked mid-sentence. We changed the math. Admiral Valethrex hissed, mandibles trembling. This is genocide. The old man nodded. Attempted genocide. Ours just finishes faster. A counselor shouted. What do you want? Tribute? Territory? Submission? The man's smile vanished. We wanted borders, he said. You wanted obedience. He stubbed the cigarette out on the arm of his chair. So now you get the human compromise. The chamber went silent. Survive us. The transmission cut. Across the Imperium, chaos erupted. Human merchant ships, long believed destroyed, reactivated, their hulls opening to reveal missile arrays and autonomous drone swarms. Refugee arcs thought to be filled with civilians altered course and rammed shipyards at relativistic speeds. Even human corpses became weapons. Cryopods retrieved from battlefields activated decades-old command codes, triggering internal antimatter charges after recovery crews brought them aboard. Korath admirals began refusing orders. Not out of cowardice, but logic. Every human defeat created more weapons. Every captured asset became a liability. Even victory felt dangerous. And worse still, the humans talked. They broadcast stories across open channels. Not propaganda. Memories. A woman recording a goodbye message as her shelter collapsed. A father teaching his son how to shave before both were vaporized. A squad joking nervously before charging a fortified landing zone they all knew they wouldn't survive. These weren't threats. They were receipts. Council species began to argue among themselves. If humans can do this to Korath, one whispered, what happens if we anger them? Others realized something far more disturbing. Humanity had not retaliated immediately. They had waited. They let the galaxy believe Earth was dead. They let the Council relax. Then they pressed the button. On Valethrex's command deck, a junior officer asked the question no one wanted to voice. Admiral, what if this isn't their last message? Valethrex stared at the star map, now riddled with growing dead zones. Then, he said quietly, we should never have taught them how to be enemies. Somewhere beyond the edge of known space, human-built constructs continued to wake up. Not ships. Not bombs. Contingencies. Earth was gone. But humanity? Humanity was everywhere. Humanity was supposed to be gone. The official record said so. The Council said so. Every alien historian said so. They were wrong. Because humans don't vanish. Not completely. Not quietly. Not without leaving fingerprints that sting for decades, or centuries. From the fringes of the galaxy, human mercenaries began appearing like ghosts in the warp. They flew ships that looked like junkyard rejects, patched together from derelict Earth-era hulls, smelted asteroid metals, and sheer spite. Their armor mismatched. Their weapons excessive. Their laugh loud enough to make Korath's psycheers recoil. Legends spread quickly. Names whispered in fear. The Widowmakers. Soul's ghosts. The last argument. Humans weren't just surviving, they were rewriting the rules. Alien tacticians tried to predict them. They studied their battles, analyzed telemetry, built simulations. Every strategy failed. Humans didn't fight to win. They fought to end the fight on their terms. One notorious encounter became a case study, and a cautionary tale. A Council fleet cornered a human convoy in the Anchorus Belt. 8 cruisers, 20 support vessels. Humans, 3 aging freighters and a mining tug converted into a weapons platform. The Council fleet opened fire immediately. Lasers ripped through hulls, and kinetic projectiles shredded outer plating. Human ships were shredded, except they weren't the targets. They were bait. A boarding signal activated, and every human vessel detonated its hidden payloads. Magnetic mines, improvised antimatter charges, and experimental gravity wave projectors tore through the fleet. 3 cruisers were crushed by their own shields. Support ships were sucked into self-generated singularities. The few survivors drifted screaming into nothing. And then the survivors watched the humans escape through gaps in subspace folds that should have been impossible. On the Council side, panic replaced arrogance. A captured human captain, young, but with a calm precision in her gaze, was interrogated aboard a prison station. "Why keep fighting?" the interrogator demanded. His voice shook. "Your world is gone. Your fleets are dead. Why?" She shrugged. "Earth isn't a place. Earth is a habit. And we don't quit habits." A technician ran diagnostics. Her teeth contained a microgravity warhead, set to detonate if anyone tampered with her restraints. She smiled. "I told my mother I'd come back. I didn't say how." The station ceased to exist seconds later. Meanwhile, human influence spread beyond violence. Music, humor, stories, philosophy. Artifacts of humanity began appearing in alien markets and cultural hubs. Songs humans had hummed casually became protest chants. Jokes humans had whispered became rallying cries. Alien species picked up human phrases without understanding them. "That's not my problem," became a mantra for compassion, rebellion, and survival. The Galactic Council realized too late the truth. Humans weren't just striking. They were teaching. Infecting. Reshaping the galaxy to think, act, and fight like humans. The final human broadcast became the stuff of nightmares and inspiration. The same old man from Earth appeared again. Older, thinner, scarred deeper. "Earth was our home," he said softly, voice carrying across uncountable light years. "But survival, that's our religion. You didn't just kill a planet. You awakened a species that doesn't know when to quit." Then he smiled. Not a comforting smile. Not a cruel one. A human smile. "You can kill us. You can try to erase us. But we're still here. Everywhere you ever touched Earth, we are there. In your history, in your habits, in your mistakes. We are not gone." Every council world received that transmission. And for the first time, silence reigned, not because of fear of punishment, but because every listener understood exactly what humans had become. Humans had lost their home. But the galaxy? The galaxy would never forget them. And somewhere, beyond the last mapped star system, humans laughed. Not cruelly, not angrily, just as humans always did, because it confused everyone. And in that laughter was a promise: Earth might be gone, but humanity was eternal. The Council had underestimated them. Badly. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy learned that humans were not the species you could corner. They were the species that thrived in corners. And when pushed too far, they became the storm itself. And the storm was coming. The Galactic Council did not collapse with a bang. It dissolved quietly. Ineffectively. Not in fury, but in irrelevance. Trade routes rerouted themselves around human-controlled sectors. Military doctrines were rewritten to include a single, glaring line in every manual. Never corner humans. The Council's most arrogant members, the ones who had laughed at Earth's envoy decades ago, vanished from the galaxy's political stage. Not assassinated. Not exiled. Just rendered obsolete. Humanity didn't hunt them. They simply outlasted them, and in the vacuum of obsolescence, there was nothing left to rule. Meanwhile, humanity spread, not as conquerors, but as survivors, mentors, and occasional mercenaries. They flew battered freighters and ancient cruisers, but their tactics and ingenuity were unmatched. Every corner of known space eventually learned: to encounter a human was to gamble with reality itself. And humans always played to win, or at least to make the other side regret losing. Somewhere deep in an asteroid field, far from Sol, a human man poured whiskey into a chipped mug. Across from him sat an alien woman, a traitor, an ex-soldier, a refugee. You ever miss Earth? She asked quietly. He studied the glass. The amber liquid trembled under artificial gravity. Every day, he said. Then why keep fighting? He shrugged, a grin tugging at the corner of his lips. Because if we stop, someone like you won't get to ask that question. She laughed, faintly, nervously. He raised his glass. To survival, he said. To humanity, she replied. Outside, the galaxy burned brighter and darker in equal measure. Systems rebuilt, alliances formed, treaties signed, but the shadow of Earth's last message stretched across every world. Not as a threat, but as a warning, a lesson, a promise. The final transmission, looping endlessly through interstellar relays, carried the same words that had begun it all. We warned you. You didn't listen. This is what survival looks like. The Council's oldest member, a being who had once mocked humans as short-lived, petty, and irrelevant, received the message in solitude. Its segmented limbs quivered. Its mind, which had catalogued millennia of conquest, struggled to process a species that defied every expectation. What are you? It whispered. The reply came instantly, across every frequency, every data stream, every corner of known space. Human. And we're still here. No fleet. No army. No grand armada. Just humans. Unpredictable. Unyielding. Everywhere they were supposed to be, and places no one had thought to look. Somewhere, far from Sol, the old man and a handful of humans raised their glasses again, laughing at a joke no one else would understand. Earth was gone, but humanity's legacy was eternal. Not because they had conquered the galaxy. Because the galaxy had learned, too late, that humans could not be conquered. And somewhere in the void, a new kind of war doctrine was quietly being written, not by generals, but by every species who had witnessed Earth's last message. Survival, above all. And for humanity, that was just the beginning.